Another mystery buried deep in the hills of eastern Washington keeps resurfacing. A bottomless pit said to be a pathway to the paranormal.
Waters said the hole had a 3-foot stone wall around it. It seemed bottomless to him, so he used an old shark fisherman's trick, sending thousands of feet of fishing line down.
A drone was exploring Mel's Hole when it suddenly plummeted into the darkness, capturing one final horrifying image before vanishing forever. The last thing it sent back was a glowing figure deep inside, a shape that should not have been there. Could there be something living in the depths of Mel's Hole, something beyond what we can understand? Tune in, because what was found next is so terrifying, NASA had to lock down the whole state. The bottomless pit that shouldn't exist. Mel's Hole is not just some random pit in Washington. It's been whispered about for years, but Mel Waters was the first to bring it to the public's attention. He claimed that no matter how much rope he lowered, he never reached the bottom. A hole that never ends? That alone was enough to raise eyebrows, but that was just the start. The animals knew something was off. Birds refused to fly over it, and dogs avoided it like the plague. People standing near it felt dizzy, as if something was pulling them in. What could be lurking inside? Some say it's just a deep pit, while others believe something is down there, watching, waiting. Before we go any further, one thing is certain.
Deep it is until that would appear to be a slant in the pipe.
Mel's Hole is far more than just a bottomless pit, and what has been witnessed there will shake you to your core. For years, he and his neighbors used the hole as a dump. Trash, broken furniture, old appliances, it all vanished into the darkness without a sound. Then things took a terrifying turn. A local threw a dead dog into the hole, thinking it would be the last they saw of it. Days later, that same dog was spotted alive in the woods, but something about it wasn't right. It was the same dog, but different, like it had come back from somewhere else. Then came the lights. Strange beams flickered up from the hole at night, pulsing in ways that didn't make sense. Some flashed like signals, others held steady, stretching into the sky like eerie lanterns. The sounds were even worse, a deep, low hum that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who got too close. He wanted answers. He ran an experiment, lowering Candy into the pit with fishing line, expecting to hit water. But when he pulled it back up, the Candy was bone dry. Confused but determined, he kept lowering the line, thousands and thousands of feet. But there was no splash, no bottom, just more endless darkness. How deep could a hole possibly be? People flocked to see it for themselves, drawn by the chilling rumors. Then the government stepped in. Helicopters hovered above his land. Military trucks rolled in, blocking the roads. Men in dark suits told him he was no longer welcome on his own property. They said it was for safety reasons, but no one bought that excuse. What did they find down there? He wasn't about to back down. He pushed to get back to his land, but the military wasn't budging. Then one of the men in a suit gave him a warning. "Talk all you want," he smirked, "but no one will believe you." That was enough to make anyone uneasy. And then things got even stranger. One night, Mel's radio picked up an old baseball game from decades ago. He flipped through stations, but every single one played nothing but broadcasts from the past. News reports, music, sports, all from years ago. Was the hole somehow messing with time itself? The theories started rolling in. Some believed the hole was a gateway to another world. Others thought it was connected to an ancient underground civilization. A few even suggested that nothing was truly lost inside, it was just transported somewhere else. But before anyone could dig deeper, he vanished. He was supposed to give another radio interview, but when the time came, he was gone. No calls, no messages, just gone. People whispered that he had been silenced. Others thought he had been bribed into keeping quiet. And some feared he had fallen into the hole himself. Years later, a rumor spread that he had been paid millions to leave the country and never speak of the hole again. He disappeared without a trace, and the military locked the area down. Whatever was down there, they didn't want the public to find out. The more people searched for answers, the harder it became to find the hole, like someone was trying to make it disappear. The pit that time forgot. Even today, the legend of Mel's Hole refuses to die. Some claim to have found old maps marking the area, but when they go to look, the land appears untouched, like the hole never existed. Others believe it's been covered up on purpose, buried under layers of secrecy. But one thing is clear, a hole that deep, that dark, that strange, it's impossible to ignore. What was really down there, and who or what was so desperate to keep it hidden? Some say the government sealed it off to protect people. Others think there was something dangerous, something alive lurking inside. There have even been whispers that strange creatures crawled out of the pit, only to be whisked away by military trucks. Some believe those who get too close can hear voices from below, echoes from another time or another world. The stories keep getting weirder. At one point, his radio played songs from decades ago, even after he switched stations. He found himself listening to a baseball game from the 60s, as if time had rewound itself. When he tried returning to his land, the military blocked the way. They claimed there had been a plane crash. An obvious lie, since there was no wreckage, no fire, nothing to back up their story. Mel demanded answers, but instead he got a visit from a man in civilian clothes. The man hinted that he might not even own his land anymore. Then he made a cryptic suggestion. Was he involved in illegal activities? The implication was clear. Walk away or things could get worse. And then there's the drone that went down into Mel's hole to capture the truth. It should have come back, but instead it disappeared. The last image it sent back showed something glowing deep inside, something that should not have been there. Was it a light, a creature, something even worse? Whatever it was, it terrified the world. Mel thought he had the upper hand when he threatened to go public. Instead, he got laughed at. The message was clear: go ahead, no one's going to believe you. But that's where things got interesting. Art Bell and his listeners weren't your average skeptics. They loved bizarre, unexplained stories, and when he started talking, the theories exploded. A neighbor reported seeing a beam of dark light shooting straight into the sky, cutting through the clouds like a knife. He hadn't seen it himself, but it didn't matter. This was Washington, a place already crawling with UFO sightings, vanishing people, and other things no one could explain. Art Bell's audience ran wild with ideas. Some were convinced the hole sat on a ley line, a hidden force of energy crisscrossing the Earth. Others swore it was a portal to another dimension or a rip in time itself. The most outlandish theory, that the hole was an entrance to Hollow Earth, a place where an entire hidden civilization could be living right under everyone's feet. No one had proof, but that didn't stop the speculation. Then came the warnings. Callers begged him to stop talking. They said people who shared too much about these kinds of things had a habit of disappearing. Some thought he was in real danger. Others worried the government would come after him or worse, erase any trace of the hole ever existing. And maybe that's exactly what happened. One day he was supposed to come back on the radio. He never showed. His phone went silent. His emails went unanswered. It was as if he had vanished overnight. A TV crew went out to find the famous hole, but when they arrived, there was no sign of it. What they did find were military documents, sealed orders, and evidence that something big had happened there. For 3 long years, he was nowhere to be found. When Mel returned, he wasn't the same. Whatever happened during those missing days made the hole even more frightening. The man who knew too much. Then he resurfaced with a shocking revelation. He had been offered millions of dollars per year to hand over his land. The catch? He had to leave the country and never return. At first, it seemed like an easy choice. He took the money and moved to Australia, far away from Washington and its endless questions. But something kept pulling him back. Family, curiosity, maybe even guilt. Whatever it was, he couldn't stay away. He snuck back into the country, determined to find out the truth. The moment he returned, things got strange again. He was constantly looking over his shoulder, feeling watched, feeling followed. Against every warning, he planned to talk on Art Bell's show again. But just before the interview, something bizarre happened. While traveling by bus to visit family, a fight broke out among passengers. The police showed up, took statements, and moved everyone onto a new bus. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Mel blacked out. When he woke up, he was in an alley in San Francisco. 12 days had disappeared from his memory. His wallet was missing. His arms had needle marks like he'd been intoxicated or treated in a hospital. The strangest part, some of his back teeth had been removed. He had no idea what had happened, who had done it, or why. But one thing was clear, he wasn't supposed to be back. Mel tried to return to his property, but it was no longer his. New buildings, new roads, things he had never approved. The government had taken control and there was nothing he could do about it. His bank account, empty. His land, gone. The story he had spent years trying to tell, no one believed him anymore. Art Bell was not like most people. When he heard a strange story, he didn't dismiss it. He leaned in, eager to know more. So when he called back to his radio show with an update, Art was ready to listen. But what he had to say was far more unbelievable than anyone expected. A television crew had once gone looking for the hole, but instead of an empty field, they found something shocking: military activity. Soldiers were on the ground and aircraft were being kept out of the sky. Planes were suddenly not allowed to fly over the area, and anyone looking at satellite images would only see a large black square covering the land. It was as if someone wanted to erase the place from existence, making sure no one could see what was really there. Just when he thought things couldn't get any stranger, he got a message that made his story even bigger. A Native American tribe from Nevada had heard about his bottomless hole, and they told him something unbelievable. They claimed they had a hole just like his. It was deep, dark, and seemingly endless. They wanted to talk to him. They wanted his help. If he had thought his experience with the first hole was strange, he had no idea what was coming next. A second bottomless pit? That changed everything. If there were two of these holes, what did it mean? Who else knew about them? And how long had they been there? Mel couldn't ignore it. He had to see this second hole for himself. But it wasn't as simple as just showing up. The tribe didn't let outsiders in so easily. They had strict rules and they needed to be sure about Mel before they trusted him. They only had one condition: he couldn't be involved with the government or the media in any way. They didn't want reporters digging into their land. They didn't want the government claiming their space. If this hole was anything like the first, then it wasn't just another strange discovery. It was something bigger. It was something important, and it had to be protected. Is Mel's hole just a strange legend, or did the drone capture proof of something the world isn't ready to face? Tell us what you think, and remember to like and subscribe for more.